to my channel. We're not doing this the second time, no, it was fine. I'm joined with 3 medics today, and we're going to be doing a video on medicine at Oxford. Very important, and that's literally it from me. I'm going to leave now, and they're going to answer my questions. So, yeah. First question, how long is the course for medicine at Oxford?
6 long years.
Can we start with your names, your college, and what year you're in for the course?
So, I'm Amory, I go to Keble College, and I've just finished my first year exams.
I'm Amira, I'm a 6th year medic, and I'm at Green Templeton, but was at Lady Margaret Hall.
I'm Zaman, I am at Lady Margaret Hall, and I've just finished my 2nd year.
Okay, cool.
150 is the normal sort of amount, give or take a few. That's across the uni. So it's split into 29 colleges who offer medicine.
Okay.
So it's roughly 4 to 6 per college per year.
That's cool.
So the course in Oxford generally is very much split into a preclinical set of 3 years and a clinical set of 3 years. And so the first year there's 4 overall topics. The 3 main medical ones is called organisation of the body, which is like anatomy, physiology and pharmacology, which is kind of like the actual organs and stuff in your body, and biochemistry and genetics. And then your 4th one's called medical sociology. And generally, I guess it's different to most other unis in as much as you're writing quite a lot of essays, and just quite a lot of work, but it's good fun.
Then you move to 2nd year, and pretty much the same in terms of the format. So there are 4 modules, of which the 4th is slightly more minor compared to the other 3. And they are applied physiology and pharmacology, so building on the knowledge from 1st year. And then you've got the central nervous system, which is basically the entire brain and spinal cord, which is more than you might think it is. And then there's principles of pathology, so essentially how disease occurs and how we fight it. The slightly more minor module is cytology for medicine.
Wow.
Which is annoyingly really interesting because you just don't get enough time to go into it properly. More interesting than some of the other stuff, but anyway. The essays are constant, and increase ever so slightly. And yeah, it's a lot of hard work. Thing is, with 2nd year, it's pushed into 2 terms, so it's not done over 3 terms. So while in 1st year you take your exams at the end of the 3rd term, in 2nd year you take them at the very beginning. So it's quite compressed and quite sort of, you've got to hit the ground running and keep running. It's tough. And that basically makes way for the 3rd term in which you do your project, which sort of segues into 3rd year. Do you want to talk about 3rd year? Or should I cover that? Cool. So 3rd year is basically, the medical degrees years 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6. And so 3rd year is kind of the year that you take out to do what would normally be a BSc, but at Oxford is a BA in medical sciences. Still haven't quite figured that one out. But essentially, that's the year you take out to do a research degree, which mainly consists of your project that you start at the end of 2nd year, and the write-up, an extended essay, sort of throughout the 2nd term generally, and then you have 3 exams at the end of the 3rd term, and those together comprise the entirety of your first degree, your BA.
Wow.
And then you move to clinical school, which is where
you are.
So clinical school is actually so much better than, well, personally for me, than preclinical. So preclinical is very academic, very essay-based, very research-based, whereas clinical is very kind of practical. That's where you think, oh, I'm putting my stethoscope on, I'm being a doctor. You actually get a stethoscope in the 4th year, which is great.
And you don't stop wearing it in 4th year.
No, you don't. You wear it to events, wear it everywhere.
Amazing.
Really good. So in 4th year, what you do is the first few weeks of 4th year, you do this thing called Med-Ed, where you learn how to do the basic exams, so like a cardiac exam, rest, GI, neuro.
Wow.
They're just the main different systems in the body. And then what you do is, you go on this really intense 8-week course called Lab Med. So Lab Med is basically when you learn all the pathology you need to know of the different systems. And yeah, it is very, very, very intense, but it's basically the crux of the academic element of 4th year. And then you have an exam before Christmas. And then for the latter half of the year, you do your kind of, you're basically into your clinical training. So you'll do a medicine rotation, you'll do a surgery rotation, and you'll do like an SSM, which is an 8-week project on a specialty of your choice. So I did mine in cardiothoracic surgery, other people did theirs in like general medicine, other people did theirs in like the history of art. So it's like really broad.
Is that student selected module or something, SSM?
Yeah, I think it sounds like that, yeah. And then you have a supervisor, or you can do something whatever you want. If you want to do like ancient Arabic and medicine centre, you can do absolutely whatever you want. Yeah,
very exciting.
You can do anything you want, and it's like quite creative. You make a poster at the end. You can use that in like conferences, or you can just keep it for yourself. It's really good. Yeah, and then at the end of the year, you have a practical exam called an OSCE. So we've never really come across OSCEs before until this year. Until 4th year. So an OSCE is basically where you have little stations, like little polling stations. you have around 6 minutes each, 1 minute to read the vignette and then another minute to like do what they say. So as I said at the start of the year, you're learning all these exams, so you'll have like different stations on like, oh, you have a patient come in, do a cardiac exam on him. You'll have to interpret lab values, so it brings in a bit of lab med. And then you'll have like a communication skills station. So that's kind of like your introduction into clinical school, which is kind of a very good solid foundation. Because what we do in 5th year next is you focus on specialities. So 5th year is a really, really tough year. It's full of 8-week rotations. After every 8-week rotation, you have a written exam, which is in the form of an MCQ, and then you have an OSCE as well. Every 8 weeks.
You guys like weird names. Like
It's all abbreviations. The whole everything in medicine is just abbreviations.
So, OSCE is-
it just sounds like a pet name. That one sounds really cute though.
Yeah.
OSCE, they're not
I like that, but it probably isn't cute.
OSCE.
I presume the C is clinical exam.
We should know these things.
It's fine. It's probably too long to know.
Yeah.
There's
But
a
in,
reason it's-
yeah.
Yeah.
But in 5th year you do 6 rotations, every 8 weeks are for each one, and after each one you have 2 exams, an MCQ and an OSCE. So they're basically on this one on general medicine, on public health, orthopedics, emergency medicine and trauma, neuro, psych, just a video, this is bad. Neuropsych, what else do we do?
And 2 more.
There's 2 more. But they're quite important. Oh yeah, obs and gynae, so that's where you get to deliver babies.
What?
Yay.
Yeah.
Real ones?
Yeah, real
Yeah.
ones. Like,
Not a fake one.
my hands have been the first hands to touch like a baby's head.
Oh my
Just
god.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Alhamdulillah. It's like it's so crazy the number of like boys in the year that I've seen like crying over that is great.
That's good, that's good.
No.
Obs and gynae and pediatrics, that's the
Uh-huh.
kids. Honestly, you get a really good range for each subject. You learn it in such a way which you're equivalent to that of like an F1, if not better, because you're doing it so in depth. So that's 5th year, and 5th year is really, really grueling. But then you have 6th year, so that's the one I'm in like now. So 6th year is again a little bit more like 4th year, but we have our finals in January. So we start in July, you have finals in January. And 6th year basically comprised of medicine, surgery, another SSM rotation, and then you're basically on the home straight to finals, and that's when you get your final degree, you get your doctor's badge, and you're done. But after finals,
Oh,
this is the best
exciting.
bit. I know, it's,
Okay.
it's only like 6
I'm still excited for this, and this is a long
Wait, before we get there,
Yeah.
for the finals, okay,
Yeah.
this sounds really silly of me. Is there a final exam, or is that like you just, after you've done all of that, that's it?
No, there's a fat exam, isn't there?
Is that what you mean by
After
finals then?
finals?
No, is that what finals means in this?
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
so finals, so basically, well, before finals you have your SJT,
Mm-hmm.
situational judgment test that you need because
course,
you get
yeah.
ranked, all that
Mhm.
stuff. And then, but the actual finals for the degree itself,
Yep.
they happen in January. So you have an OSCE, you have a written paper, and I think you
Okay.
have another paper as well.
Cool. But then the exciting thing.
Then you get to go on an elective for 10 weeks anywhere in the world, whatever you
Oh.
want to do. It's completely up to you. So if you want to go to, for instance, India or South America or wherever you want to go, the world is literally your oyster. Anywhere will take
Gap
you
year
because you have
motives.
oxygen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My plan is to go as far as I can because like a lot of costs are covered.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
No,
why
yeah,
not?
that's.
But is this
As a
to-
student, I can't afford to go to like Australia and spend 10 weeks there.
Fair enough.
No, but the
Yeah.
funding in colleges is really good. So they give, for
Yeah.
instance, I think at Green Templeton they give you like an £800 elective fund. So you can actually branch out and you can actually like go to places and not have money as an object.
But is
I'll get
this
support.
elective stuff like to do medicine, or can you do anything?
It is to do medicine.
Okay.
It's meant to be.
But you can do other stuff.
I mean, it will be fun and a nice scenery kind of thing.
But if you're in like Australia, you don't just want to be doing medicine all day. You want to like immerse
Yeah.
yourself in the culture and stuff. So it's very
Mhm.
good for that as well.
Okay, that's really cool.
And then, sorry, so that's for 10 weeks, and you come back and you do like little exams, like prescribing exam, and you do like a couple of weeks of learning how to become an F1, which is like
Formula
like,
racer?
for-
No?
a
Okay.
foundation year doctor. So then you can like get let loose onto the wards in August.
And then that's it. Let loose.
Never go to A&E in August because you'll have lots of F1s that don't know what they're doing.
Okay, nice to
Don't
know.
have an accident or emergency in August.
Try your best.
Not
Just try your best. Well, I mean,
Well,
stay
just hold
healthy in
tight till
general.
September. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just hold tight.
You'll be fine.
Very long overview, sorry.
No, that's
It's a
fine.
very long course.
Whoever's watching this will definitely be grateful. So saying that, actually, people watching this video are probably people interested in knowing about medicine at Oxford because they want to take the course, or they may also be offer holders. So
Ooh.
yeah, that's
Well done.
congratulations. That's amazing.
Quick, start that side, start.
Wait, so I did-
You're really new to
I
this, so
can do
yeah.
second, yeah, I can do second year. So second year is a lot more intense than first year. So in first year, there's a lot of like you're doing a lot more than just medicine because you're learning to live alone. You're, you know, it's a whole different
Don't
experience.
steal my advice.
Sorry,
This is what I'm gonna
this
say.
is
I mean, if you're both going to say it, it must be very good advice. So yeah,
is true,
take
this is
notes,
true.
people watching this.
but in second year, you've kind of acclimatized to the way university is, the academic environment of Oxford and how intense it is, the way you go into, like, you know, what exams are like, because you don't know that until the very end of first year what it's like to sit your exams
Very true.
in your sub-FASC and in these huge like examination schools, and it's all just very daunting. But in second year, you kind of, that's all a formality and normality, and you know what it feels like and what it's like. So you're less sort of taken aback by all that sort of stuff, and you can just focus on the content. So somehow, although I had far less time, like way more work to do, I still somehow managed to find more time for hobbies and this and that, because I was just, you just get on with it. Yeah, I think it's to keep yourself sane in second year and throughout the whole course, but particularly second year, you need to have some sort of sport, hobby, some other way to get your energy out, which is completely not related to medicine. Because you don't want to be sleeping, eating, breathing, thinking medicine the whole time. It will just drive you nuts. And if it doesn't, it'll drive everyone else around you nuts.
Yeah,
So
that's so
And it's a
true.
long course. You need to be able
really
to
important,
sustain it.
Really important.
Yeah.
Try something new like rowing, or you know, and all this crazy stuff that you don't do otherwise.
Try
And you
Don't recommend that. Anything but right.
But, but you know, I think give it a go. Do something you haven't done before. I started martial arts. Like, why not?
Wow.
So yeah.
Do you still do it?
When I'm injured, sometimes.
Oh,
but,
okay.
yeah.
Injured.
Injured.
Yeah. Could have gone pro.
Yeah. When a medic gets injured.
I went to clinical school yet, so I don't know what to do about it.
Oh, should I give advice on clinical school?
Go for
I
it.
think I say advice on my injury.
Clinical school is really fun. I think come into it with an open mind, come into it as excited as you were in year 12, year
Oh, cute.
12, year 13 when you were applying,
What
because
year are you in now, technically?
I'm in 6th year.
Year 18.
Year 18?
Year 18, you're
Yeah,
so
year 18.
old.
No,
you're
that's
basically-
you are now.
Technically.
Yeah, year 19 even.
It just hit
Oh,
her.
don't say that, this is my real.
It's fine, it's
Year
fine.
19. Sorry,
Youthful.
Yeah, come into it with a lot of enthusiasm, because I feel like when we write our personal statements, we feel like we're coming in for that. Like, we know Oxford's academic, but even when you're applying to Oxford, you still think that you're going to get a little bit more clinical time than you actually get. So come into clinical school really excited, really raring to go, as keen as you were when you were applying, because that will actually fuel how well you do throughout clinical school, and it's really good. What you learn in your 4th and your 5th year will stay with you and will help you for life. So just come into it happy and excited. Oh, and also in 4th year, because we have, this is one thing I should have mentioned, we have the 8-week really intense pathology course right at the start. So in and alongside that, we have a pantomime called Tindrake. So Tindrake is basically, because medics here are ridiculous and so amazing, mashallah. I'll say something, well, not anyway. So Tindrake is basically a pantomime where the 5th years write it and the 5th years direct it, and the 4th years are basically in it, and literally 98% of people, albeit 1 or 2 people, get involved. And this is a pantomime that we run for charity, and you have auditions, so you sing, you might do a bit of dancing. This is all if you want to. You do acting if you're good at like musical instruments, you can play in the band. If you're good at tech, you can help out with tech, and if you're just arty, you can like paint the scenery. It's like literally like High School Musical, but in Oxford. It's so
I think I've seen
good.
clips, it did kind of look like that.
You've never been to Tindrake?
No.
Oh my god. It's literally, honestly, it's so good. It's really professional. It's like something that you could have at like a playhouse or a theatre. It's so
So
good.
that's the place to be.
Yeah.
Thing to see.
Yeah. So when you come into clinical school, you have like a lot of work, and you're like, oh my gosh, I thought I left all this behind in preclinical, but you've got this alongside, and it's really fun. And then you knuckle down even more in 5th year, and then even more in 6th year, which is expected, but it's really good.
Okay, that's really cool.
Like, seriously,
Unexpected.
yeah.
Smiling.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, blah, this is great, what's going on? First year, I think as has been said, the biggest issue with first year is that you've left everything you know, you've probably left your home, left a lot of your friends, you've come to university, and that's just a big change. And I think the best advice I can give is that everyone else is going through the same kind of thing, everyone else who's gone before you has gone through the same kind of thing, and it does really get better. One of the best things about Oxford is that you're in your colleges, and I think what's really nice is you get to make a lot of friends, meet a lot of people who aren't doing your subject, or who have very different interests, which is really lovely. As well as meeting other medics, which is nice as well.
Medics are
It
great.
gives you these sort of like little communities where you've got your college friends, you've got your medical
Medical
faculty
friends,
friends,
yeah.
and you've got like, for example, any societies you're in,
Yeah.
and then you've got a few people who fit into more than one of those groups, and it's just nice.
And you need that balance, because that's what helps you kind of get through the course. Because if you didn't, you'd go insane. Honestly, you'd go insane.
One thing I forgot to mention about preclinical in terms of the course, is in first and second year you do have a tiny bit of patient contact in the form of, I want to say, 8 afternoons over both years that you spend at a GP's talking to patients and taking histories and discussing. It gets progressively more interesting and more difficult in the sense that you start from like talking about basics like drug history, and then you move on to, I think the last session is sort of talking with a cancer patient.
It's
about
really hard.
I really enjoyed that aspect of things because it was just a taste that I'm actually here to be a doctor, not a scientist, because that's what I'm here for. So I'm very much getting through these 3 years, hopefully, in order to go to clinical school, and that's where I think it will be my. That's where I'm hoping that I'll thrive, and that's where I know my interests lie. But you do get a tiny bit of patient contact to remind you that you're doing a medical degree.
I think the only thing that takes away from the patient contact is the fact that you do have like a lot of essays, and this is like a big chunk of your week taken out. So if there is a little bit of frustration, it's mainly in the form of, I've got so much work to do, and I'm like, But I think it's a lot harder talking to patients. You think, because everyone writes in their personal statements, I've got really good communication skills, and really organised, really proactive. Yeah, exactly. I've got really good interpersonal skills, but it's actually a lot harder when you're speaking to.
Some of us just do have good communication skills.
Ooh, shots fired.
I'm joking. No, but I find it quite.
You made it this far, so obviously,
Yeah, I know.
Also, you hear a lot about essays, and I was quite daunted maybe about essays.
I feel like I should say a bit more about that.
And
it's not like one essay in a term.
So
we're emphasising essays are a real thing here.
Essays are real, even for sciences.
Especially for sciences.
Yeah.
We actually I write more essays than my English students.
How many essays? Okay, well, give me numbers,
Okay,
because that's a very contested fact right there. I'm quite triggered.
You're writing 1 per tutorial. So
Okay.
a tutorial is when you meet your tutor in groups of 3 or 4, do short chat like the subject for an hour basically, and you're generally writing an essay for each. And it'll be maybe between 2 and 3 a week, depending on your college.
So some colleges more, some colleges less. But in second year, it's sort of the worst I've had is 6 in a week. But generally speaking, it's about 4.
Okay, that is quite bad.
But yeah, that was.
But how long are these essays?
Some tutors set sort of word limits or word guides, some don't. Mine, I'd say on average, are about 2,000 words.
Wow.
But you also get very good.
I also just do ramble. I just do in life. So that's also.
And I think the hard thing about essays is that, first of all, the content for medicine is very factual based. If you don't get your head around the facts, then talking around the subject is going to be a lot harder. And your tutors are like world experts in what you're writing about, can pick up on any tiny bit of.
You can't waffle.
Yeah.
You can't waffle.
That's helpful.
It's different because with like, for example, with humanities essays, it's a lot more abstract. I remember, like, for example, English AS, like you don't have to land on either side of an argument necessarily. You can take ideas and throw them up and question them. Whereas with science and medical essays, you have to take ideas and bring them down and ground them with factual evidence. So it's very different for me. The essay writing skills that I gained through A-level were helpful, but also the essay is very, very different. It's about taking information and proving it and bringing it down, as opposed to potentially throwing things up. And you do have to land on one side or the other, because you have to.
That sounds useful for life, though.
It's a good balance to have, I think.
But don't worry if you haven't done an essay-based subject at A-level.
Most people haven't.
Most people just
learn
maths by
I didn't do it all the way.
Yeah, exactly. You do learn how to get in the gist of writing about something very factual.
And everyone's first week essays are pretty awful. Like, I was doing revision, looked through my first essays, and they're horrific.
You'll see a massive improvement. You'll be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a good whoa.
Happy work. And also, like, you always have students in the years above who are more than willing to help you out or send you an essay as guidance or whatever you want. So that's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we have like a big drive now, which is like full of essays and like tips. And
Every college will have like a Google Drive or a Dropbox or something.
Really nice.
A vast amount of information.
Oh.
Because it's just gonna help each other get through it. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
It's difficult. That's really cool. And then I guess you guys are together for so many years. You become really close friends, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think medics as a subject are probably one of the tightest year groups.
Yeah, sometimes they're not really tight, but yeah.
You love to hate them.
Quite cliquey.
Hate to love them.
Quite cliquey often. But yeah, I mean.
What subject isn't though?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah.
Coping with stress. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So what I.
I don't get stressed.
Yeah.
It's normal. Medics get stressed too.
Yeah. So no, stress is real. What I said, branch out, you meet so many lovely people, and hopefully get a really, really good group of friends.
Yeah.
And I think just having a support network of people who in college you live with is really important. And just so like So each college will have normally welfare officers, and so they'll often run events and just cups of tea and cake and like welfare dogs and things is a very common occurrence.
It's a real thing.
Do a hobby or a sport and just
Not rowing though.
not rowing, that
Not rowing.
takes up your life. But anything else that just gets you out of college, meeting new people, do something active, I think just like not working is really nice as well.
Okay.
So I'm in the Mountaineering Society here. I climb quite a lot before and I play cricket.
Wow.
It's
It's a society for everything.
That's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
Is it at
anything
Brooks
to
or
do-
is it at like Oxford?
No, no,
It's at Oxford, yeah.
Wow, cool.
It's not even like it's a well-known one now.
Yeah. We climb mountains, it's great, it's great.
Now it's going to be well known.
Honestly, just, so much fun.
That's really cool.
So I did a lot of, well, back in the day. No, basically in first, second year, I was involved in like a lot of like college and ISOC stuff. So I was like access officer, and then I did a lot of, I was just like in different roles in ISOC on the committee.
Which is Islamic Society, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Islamic
Yeah.
Society.
Yeah.
I helped run polo ball last year because a lot of my friends were on committee there.
Ooh.
And then I play a lot of football. So you can play.
Oh, yeah.
So sports is a very big thing here.
Hmm.
It's a very big thing here. So you can play on like. So bearing in mind, I played football in about like year 6, year 7 because I wasn't really allowed to play sport at
The good
school
days.
because I was very like.
Good taste.
No, yeah, way back then because I was very injury prone. But here it's really welcoming, so you can play at like a college level. That's really, really welcoming. Just come, play for fun, whether you're good, whether you're bad, whether you've seen a ball and never kicked a ball before. Just come. It's so fun, and it's really like light-hearted. So that's really good at pastime. And then the step up from that is you can either play for like Oxford or you can play for the uni, which is where you become like blues, half blues, that sort of thing.
That's a lot more intense.
Yeah, that's a lot more intense. You have like training sessions throughout the week. You have matches scheduled
Away
in the
days.
week.
Away days.
Yeah. You have like gym sessions. So that's very. If you like a more kind of structured approach, and if you are very kind of like capable, then the uni sport is definitely a thing. But yeah, football. I do like football.
So I'm quite involved in the Islamic Society as well.
Just got elected on committee.
Yeah, just got it.
Really?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congrats.
A lot of access stuff for college. So yeah, so on our college prospectus, actually, Amira from LMH is on the back of our college prospectus.
Cute.
And so I've made it my personal goal to replace it. No, not so much. But yeah, no, a lot of access work. In terms of like sports and stuff, I don't play like for uni or anything, but I do play a fair amount of football, badminton. I've started this martial art. Yeah, just generally
He's
just making
humble.
sure I get out and just release all that frustration and energy in a more productive way
Yeah, I think that's really healthy.
than just sitting and stressing about essays.
But I think another good thing to mention is that you don't have to like get involved in like societies. If you're just somebody that wants to lie in bed and just like watch TV.
I do that. I do a fair amount of that as well.
Oh,
Just
I
watch
feel like
and
It's probably a
I
healthy
do-
mix,
I do
to be
watch
honest.
copious amounts of Netflix. It's scary. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I can tell you a little bit about how it's different from other unis, but I don't really know the Cambridge Oxford difference per se.
Yeah, I think the difference between Cambridge Oxford. So Oxford has tutorials. Cambridge have
Supervisions.
supervisions. There you
Basically
go.
same thing though.
The same
basically
thing,
same thing, but
Yeah.
I feel the ones at Oxford are kind of a lot smaller groups. So you have
Okay.
like 1 tutor to 2 students, whereas there it's like a group. And then we have a lot more kind of like essays a week.
But
Our anatomy is different as well, isn't it? In
Yeah.
first and second year.
Yeah.
So we get
took that so
pro
literally.
sections. So we have in the dissection. It's called the demonstration room, but for some reason, because it's shortened to DR, we just think of dissection room.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
we get pro sections, so they're already specimens that have been sort of cut expertly by surgeons and stuff like that. We can look at the various organs and stuff that we're looking at. In first week, for most people, it's like
people
it's-
faint, it's fine. Lots of
Oh.
people faint.
There's always one. There's always one.
Okay.
Weak. No, I'm joking. It's yeah, you get used to it. So I think in Cambridge you have like a cadaver that you go in like groups of like I don't know how to explain this. Yeah, 4 or 6, and you throughout the whole year you examine the same cadaver, and so every session the surgeon or whoever's taking the lead and explaining various different bits and pieces, they will operate on their cadaver, and then you operate on yours. And so while that gives you better practical skills, I guess, one of the pros that we have at Oxford over that is that we've got expertly cut specimens, so we can see, we won't accidentally, sever a nerve and this and that, so we can see, where, okay, this nerve, we can follow it literally with your
Okay,
hands,
that's
you follow
useful.
it from here to here, this is where it travels, it goes under here or over here, or, so you do get that visual sort of aspect quite cemented, which is useful.
And probably I think the big difference that you probably already know about is Oxford's a traditional course. When you apply, so we've spoken about that it's very much a preclinical, where we have basically no clinical contact for 3 years, and then you do a lot of clinical, or then we go right at the end.
It's so separated that in fact our bod cards, our university ID cards read
Change.
they finish, like my degree finishes after 3 years, and then I reapply with guaranteed entry. If I pass my first 3 years, then you get a second identity card. So it's actually, you're reading for a 3-year course and then another 3-year course. That's how sort of separated it is.
Yeah. Other unis will have like problem-based learning where they'll do like clinical cases and things like that, and they'll be able to like, read x-rays at the end of like first, and oh, I'm reading this x-ray, I saw this patient with this like lung disease, and you're like, okay, I've been learning about like connective tissue and like collagen and proteins. That really is. You think that all of this stuff really isn't useful when you kind of like compare yourselves to your friends that are learning kind of more doctor relevant
Go
content.
towards in like the first 2 weeks of uni.
What we do here is you learn everything first. You learn kind of all that molecular stuff first, then you learn kind of all the pathology, and then you put it up into clinical. And it's a really good step up progression. Because even going into, like, for instance, different bits in 5th year, for instance, going into Peds, we went straight into some cases, and if you don't know the foundations, if you don't know the content, answering a case isn't really going to help you, or that's what I find for me anyway. But you just got to pick your own learning style, I think.
So I think if you were to give an overview of what the first 3 years is compared to the second 3 years, I think the first 3 years is the science, or they say it's the science that underpins medicine. So I think medicine is one of those very, very interesting subjects that sort of combines spheres of art and science, because there's an art to it, to patient, contact and this and that as well. It's not just a science. And so the first 3 years is like the science that underpins medicine, how the body works, how it stops working sometimes, and how to make it work when it stops, essentially. And then you move to the art of medicine, which is then about like dealing with patients and treating a patient, not just a condition, and recognizing and taking histories and all these sorts of things. So I think the first 3 years is very much the science that underpins medicine, and the second 3 years is the art of medicine. And what that means is, while you don't go towards in the first 2 weeks of uni, when you do go in 4th, 5th and 6th year, I presume, you have a much more sort of grounded knowledge of what is actually going on a molecular level. So you can work from first principles and really work out, okay, this is the problem that's going on. You can come up with a list of what might be going on with a patient based on commonness, or based on their sort of predispositions or whatever. Whereas as great as it is going on towards in the second, third week of uni, realistically you don't know your knee from an elbow, so it's not that helpful.
That was so well put. Like, I'm shedding tears behind the camera. But like, also, whoever is watching this video, as I think I rightly assumed, you probably do know a lot about the course already. So everything that we're sharing right now probably isn't that new. And if you want a written down version of what people are saying in this video, it's probably on the Oxford website. Yeah. Can confirm. Cool. So don't be too overwhelmed with all of this new information. And it's also probably not that new, but it's just useful to hear, I think.
Yeah, it is.
What is imposter syndrome?
What?
Wait, are you being serious? I thought you were acting.
Are you serious?
I did a bit of it in psych, but...
Oh. I wasn't even recording. Wow. We're gonna do it again.
Okay,
Good luck, Nabs. Doesn't know me.